Hello, good afternoon, and good morning. I'm LaKendra Tooks, and it's time for Tooks Takes. Let's all breathe together. What a week. What a week. Y'all know I'm a yogi, so I'm all about my breathe in, breathe out, woosah. We gonna be all right. Remember, Tooks Takes is always going to be your safe space for the girls, gays, strays, but not the cray-crays, okay? Because if you a cray-cray, this is not a safe space for you, okay? If you a cray-cray, this is a very unsafe space for you. But we got a lot to talk about today, okay? So some of y'all know me from Jeff Lewis. Some of y'all know me. I know we got lots of chumps in the house. Lots of chumps have joined the Ken's Day crew. And I got to tell you, in this last year of 2025, I've met more people, made new friends and fans, so much more so than I ever did working on that other show. So it's a lot of fun to just share my life with you guys, share myself with you, my background, so you can know who I am and why I am. And I think when you see a little bit more, I know last week I was broadcasting from my parents' house, showing you a little bit of my childhood. And I think all of that plays into why I'm obsessed with the Housewives today. Like, it plays into why I love reality TV, why I'm nosy, why I have the gift of gab like no other, why I love being an auntie, I love being a niece. I coined this new terminology, y'all. I got my auntie army and my niece navy. Baby, we are strong. Don't come for us. More on that later. I'm going to tell you, we got a lot to talk about today. We do have something important. Last week I had I'm calling it an unfortunate exchange. I had an unfortunate exchange last week that I do have to tell you all a little bit more about, especially if you're a Jeff Lewis fan. You know exactly what I'm talking about, and we will get into it. I will address it. But first things first, we got to talk about the Real Housewives of Miami. And I know some people, with everything going on in the world right now, I'm sure there are people that are like, oh, how dare you be talking about Bravo and the Real Housewives of Miami and the Real Housewives of There's all this important stuff going on in the world. Baby, I know. I'm trying to forget about it sometimes. Sometimes I have to turn off. And I see the world through rose-colored glasses. I'm definitely very Pollyanna. I'm probably borderline delusionally optimistic sometimes, which will play into that unfortunate exchange that I had last week at the Chump Mixer. And we'll tell you more about that. But let me tell you something. I know all about the art of an unfortunate exchange. Why? Because I'm a Housewives fan. And let's talk about the Real Housewives of Miami, Miami. Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. Bailamos. We're going to talk about the Real Housewives of Miami because I'm still not in the mood to watch the Real Housewives of Orange County right now. I'm just not feeling it. I don't care. And let me tell you something, FCC. Let me tell you something, FCC. You better not try to come after Tooks Takes because I don't know about any other shows, networks, programming, but here, Tooks Takes, we're broadcasting from the United States of America. Okay? We have rights. We have rights that we fought for. I have rights. I have rights as a pretty black girl that all the pretty black girls who came before me, they fought. And they marched. My aunties, my grandmothers, they fought so that I could be here today and run this mouth of mine a mile a minute and talk about whatever I want. So, FCC, don't come for LKT because you're going to get your feelings hurt. Remember my little auntie army I was just talking about? They don't play about me. I wish I could share the DMs and texts that I have been getting. My auntie army does not play about me. Oh, hallelujah. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Let me tell you. And I feel like I got some members of the auntie army in the Real Housewives of Miami because I know I call Alexia and Marisol, I call them my barracudas. However, I still love them. Like, you know why I can talk so much smack about these women is because I truly love them all except Tamra. But Alexia, Marisol, you are my tias, que quiero. Right? How do I say? I gotta learn how to speak Spanish. See, I do need to learn how to speak Spanish if I'm gonna be properly covering the Real Housewives of Miami. Well, the finale's airing this week, so I don't have much time. I got 1 year before the next season of the Real Housewives of Miami starts, y'all. I'm going to learn how to speak Espanol, and I'm gonna be over here. I'm gonna be. Where my Latinx members of the Kins Day crew? Donde está mi Latinx members of the Kins Day crew? I got y'all. I'm going to start watching Telemundo. I'm going to start watching Univision. And I'm going to be ready. I'm going to watch some telenovelas. I'm going to be ready for y'all. I'm going to learn how to speak Spanish. And I'm going to start an OnlyFans. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. I'm starting an OnlyFans. Here's the free preview. Bam. If you're watching on YouTube, twinkle toes. Yes, I'm starting an OnlyFans so that I can get a house as beautiful as Larsa's house. Larsa's got this big, beautiful, gorgeous mansion. Her kids are all out of the house. She got this big, beautiful mansion. It is just for her boobies, her lips, her butt. I guess she does need a lot of space. Because Larsa takes up a lot of space. She got all those body parts, okay? So she needs a large house. But you know what? So do I. I need a large house because I have a large personality. Correction, I have a lot of large personalities living inside this head of mine. So I want a big, beautiful mansion all to myself. Remember in Home Alone when Kevin McAllister says, "When I grow up and get married, I'm living alone. I'm living alone." That's me. I'm going to grow up, get married, and get my own mansion all to myself. All bought with toe money. Yes, I need a pedicure. Before I start my OnlyFans, I'm going to get a pedicure. But I'm starting an OnlyFans, okay? And if the OnlyFans doesn't work out, maybe I'll be like Kiki. Kiki from Real Housewives of Miami. I know there's a lot of Kikis running around right now. Right now, we're talking about Kiki the model from the Real Housewives of Miami. Now, Kiki, she's got this amazing modeling career. She's a beautiful girl. And I love that she's reconnecting with her father. As y'all know, I am a daddy's girl. I love my daddy. And my friends that are listening that really know me well, y'all know I'm not the most forgiving person. In fact, I'm a very unforgiving person. I never forgive and I never forget, especially when it comes to those who have wronged me. And I love my daddy so much, but let me tell you something. If he had kicked me out the house when I was 15, just because I'm beautiful and I want to share my beauty with the world, what's the big deal? I know a lot of Haitian people, and if I got any Haitian members of the Kins Day crew, how do I say it? Bonjour. Bonjour. If I have any Haitian members of the Kins Day crew, y'all let me know. I mean, is it really like that in Haiti? Do they really think a model is a stripper? Because, I mean, listen, where I come from, a stripper's a stripper. But a model's a model. That's Naomi Campbell's. I'm like, why would you be kicking her out? Dude, let my daughter, God, please, let my daughter, little baby Ken Jr., please let her be 6 feet tall and gorgeous. I will put her on the catwalk and in front of the camera myself. I guess God bless her for being forgiving. And honestly, this photo shoot, she's so beautiful. She's such a pretty girl. Kiki the model. I don't care about your last name. You're Kiki the model. You're absolutely stunning, gorgeous, beautiful. But we do have to talk to you, Kiki. We're going to skip around the episode a little bit because we have the mystery. Last week, we celebrated Adriana's birthday. Now, y'all know the streets are talking. I mean, the streets are always talking. And I saw some scuttlebutt on the internet. People wondering who was responsible for Adriana's birthday cake. Now, we already talked about this. Our girl Adriana, beautiful, gorgeous, ageless Adriana. We know that we celebrated her birthday last week. And we know that she turned 32 times 2 minus 4. Now, y'all know, back in the 90s, I got through math with my graphing calculator, but that was a pretty good equation. Now, I thought it was a good equation, but we already know that Adriana's feeling some type of way about her age. So now, me personally, on my cakes, Just put happy birthday, girl. You don't even have to put my name. We don't have to get specific about anything. You could put HBD child. That's enough on my birthday cake. I'm going to blow out the candles and we're going to eat the cake. I don't need an equation. I don't need a year. I don't need dates. I don't need any of that information on my cake. All I need on my cake, icing, and then a lovely candle. Just one. We don't have to go crazy. I don't want it to look like the Chicago fire. I don't want it looking like the lights went out in Georgia. I just give me a candle. And so, okay. So we got to figure this out. The streets were talking. Everybody wants to know who's responsible for the cake. Now, it could be Marisol, because Marisol and Adriana, they've had their little thingies back and forth. It could be Alexia, but let's face it, Alexia is so self-absorbed, I don't see her getting a cake for anybody. Okay. And honestly, I think if it was Marisol, it wouldn't have had an equation. Marisol would have been like, you are older than me. If Marisol did the cake, it would have said, you're older than me. You're older than my bony knees. So I don't know what you're talking about. Marisol doesn't eat cake. I don't think Marisol would really have anything to do with cake. Marisol barely eats. So I don't think Marisol would even be in the bakery anywhere near the cake. So no Marisol, no Alexia. Okay, what about Lisa? Well, I think everybody knows. Lisa, girl, I love you. Late Lisa. Hey, Lisa. I love you, monkey. But everybody knows Lisa really, she can't do math. And honestly, Lisa, you're a gorgeous girl. And where's all my gorgeous girls out there? Who needs math anymore? Who needs math? Get yourself the TI-84 graphing calculator. I still have mine. It takes 4 AAA batteries. That's all the math you need. Okay? So we don't think Lisa did the cake because Lisa's not really doing math. Larsa didn't do it. Gertie didn't do it because Gertie's an amazing person. And honestly, had Gertie been in charge of the birthday party, that birthday party would have been Gertie-fied and it would have been fabulous. So Gertie didn't do the cake. Julia didn't do the cake because Julia would have probably been like, oh, I made you some goat milk with strawberries and rice. Like, Julia DeLulia didn't do it. Kiki did the cake. Now, do I think Kiki was intentionally trying to be shady on a cake? I love that. I love a shady baked good. Give me a good old shady baked good. But I do think, even though Kiki and Adriana had that moment, I think they got over that moment. And I don't think Kiki was actually trying to be shady. I think she was trying, and I get it. But sometimes you got to leave the jokes to the comedians, because if you don't know how to deliver it, if your delivery is not right, the joke's not gonna land. So Kiki, you beautiful, gorgeous girl, don't do that again, okay? When you're doing a cake for a lady of a particular age, just put some frosting and some candles on it and call it a day. Don't be on there trying to do math equations. E equals MC, you're old. No. But I'm glad we got down to the bottom of that. Now, Larsa and her big old butt, she's got this big, beautiful, nice house. But it appears that the house is still under a lot of construction. It's taking me back to old school Real Housewives of Atlanta. Remember Chateau Cheray? Remember how it took like 12 years for Chateau Cheray to get finished? Remember Nene's classic line, what I'm gonna look at, sticks? I mean, so it feels like maybe there's a little bit of sticks still going on at Larsa's new home because it's still very much under construction. But I'm happy for her. And I'm also happy that she's able to talk a little bit of sense into Alexia. Because as we know, Alexia, poor thing, has been on the toddler coaster. And so she is still living in that la la land, with cartwheels and jelly beans, thinking everything's good. Todd and I are dating. We're dating. But so, he did that like 3-month extension on the divorce. So it's looking like, this is recorded around the holidays. So it's the month of December. She says that 3-month extension is going to expire in January. So then the girls are like, what are you going to do? And it's like, I don't know. And it's poor Alexia. Girls, gays, strays, don't let no corny man do that to you, okay? If somebody comes up to you and says, I want a divorce, baby, you just say me too. Okay? Hashtag me too. You want to divorce me? No, I want to divorce you. Okay? We're having a divorce off. Oh, you want to divorce me? No, baby, I'm divorcing you. I'm petty like that, though. I'm incredibly immature. If my man came to me talking about he wants to divorce, I'll be like, oh, cool, me too, because I already filed yesterday. And I'll find somebody down at the divorce court and say, hey, can we like put yesterday's date on these papers? Here's $10. I'll do what I gotta do. But I feel bad for Alexia because she has allowed this man to bamboozle her. And I'm glad that Larsa called it out. And I'm glad that Alexia was able to receive it from Larsa, because we see anytime you bring up Todd's name, Alexia is the barracuda comes out. The barracuda, the piranha, the shark. All kinds of aquatic nightmares come to life when you mention Todd to Alexia. But I think that Alexia is looking at Larsa as somebody who went through a divorce, came out on the other side of it, seems like she got a pretty good settlement, and is now able to just survive and live good off feet pics. I mean, I love that for her. So listen, Alexia, okay? Listen, anybody, if you're going through a divorce, make sure you got people in your corner who are going to give you the right advice, okay? Now, I've talked a lot about Julia, Julia and Martina. They adopted these adorable little boys. I like that we're getting to see a little bit more of them on camera. The more I see them, the more I want to call CPS. I'm sorry. I do. I'm worried about these kids. They're so cute. And then I'm worried about them with their moms, and I'm also worried about them with their big sisters, because it didn't seem like their big sisters are super on board with this, but it looks like things are turning around. Julia is trying to she doesn't want to make her daughters look bad on camera, but Martina's like, F that. I feel like Martina is annoyed with the girls, and Julia says, Martina, you don't have to be so grumpy. I don't think Martina's being grumpy. I think Martina is being real. She's like, they think it would have been better if they had been here. Like, what does it matter? But the holidays are around the corner, and it's like, you know what? No matter what you're going through with your family during the holidays, you got to let some stuff go. It's the holidays. It should be time for family. And I'm glad, as much as Julia has gotten on my nerves this season, I can't imagine not talking to my parents. I can't imagine one day I have a kid, my kid's not talking to me, my kid's not telling me they love me. That would make, dude, I can't even imagine that. I'm sorry. If your kids aren't talking to you, you got to take a look in the mirror, okay? As I said, we got some things we're going to discuss later on the Tooks Takes. But especially if you've got some effed up beliefs, we'll just say, and if your effed up beliefs are making your children want to keep a distance from you, I think you need to think long and hard about that. Because you know what I always tell my parents? Because I get it. I'm not saying my parents have effed up beliefs. Thank God they do not. My parents are incredibly intelligent. And one thing I love about my parents, they listen to me, okay? Because I will go to them because they're old school. They're boomers. So they see the world differently, of course, than I do, So I know for me, I grew up super sheltered. I grew up in the South, very Christian home. I never really met gay people until I went to college. And when I met gay people, I was like, okay, everything they ever told us about you guys at church is so wrong, because you guys are amazing and I love gay people. So then when I went home with my family, I told my parents, I was like, listen, you guys, I'm in college right now. I'm surrounded by gay people, and they are amazing. They are taking care of me. My original aunties were the wonderful gay men of Gainesville, Florida, who really took care of me, took me under their wing. I was at the drag shows every Thursday night. I was having a great time. They really took me under their wing. They really took care of me, gave me skincare tips, hair tips. They took care of me in every way imaginable. Honestly, some of the most incredible gentlemen I know are gay men. So I had to go and tell my parents, like, listen, y'all, you got to be cool with gay people now. And I think it is important for not kids. I'm not a kid anymore. But people in my age group who our parents are boomers, I think it is important to have those conversations with them. And sometimes what I would tell to my parents, if they're rolling their eyes at me, I'm like, okay, so if I'm an idiot, you raised me. So if I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about, honestly, that says something about you too. So if I'm your kid and you raised me, didn't you raise me pretty well? Didn't you raise me to be a pretty smart girl? So listen to me. So that's the way that I always am with my parents. And I think anybody out there, especially, we are so divided right now. I hate it. And I don't want you to be divided from your family, okay? Especially over this crap. Don't allow that to separate you from your family. Those of you that are a little older in the boomer category, it's not shade to call you a boomer. Don't get your feelings hurt. But especially don't allow this business to separate you from your kids, man, because that's not right. And I got to tell you something. I don't proclaim to be like somebody who really knows the Bible upside down and backwards and forward, but I do know that God does not want families to be separated. I know that. I know God loves family. So I went on a little tangent there. I was supposed to save that till the end too, but I'm telling you, the end is going to be real. We got a lot to talk about at the end, but we got to get back into the Real Housewives of Miami. You know, that's why we love these women, right? Because they make us think about all kinds of things that are going on in our lives. For instance, let's take a look at Lisa and Jody. Now, Lisa wants to get married, and Lisa, baby, I feel you. I too want to get married, but I don't think it's something that you should really push. You know, I think you let the guy know, hey, I want to get married, and then you let him do the rest. Now, they've been together for 3 years, but I got to say, honestly, y'all, I'm team Precious Moments Eyes Jody on this one. I was looking into his big, beautiful puddles of eyes, and he's like, look, Lisa, I would marry you, but I've been through a lot. Things have been really chaotic. And I will say Jody has been through a lot with this divorce, and he's being really sweet to Lisa's kids. That's a lot for a man to take on. You know, I always think about the Bible says in a relationship, you should be equally yoked. And in my little hood brain, I take that as the baggage should be equal. So I feel like if I'm coming in with one little Louis Vuitton carry-on and one little Chanel tote, and you got 17 boxes and 9 garbage bags, it's like, whoa, our baggage, we're not equally yoked. Our baggage is not the same. So I feel like Jody's coming in. And Lisa, by the way, honey, I'm not calling your kids baggage. Your kids are beautiful. Logan and Elle. Hi, Logan and Elle. Auntie loves y'all. I think Lisa's children are amazing. But I understand where Jody's coming from, because Jody says, and let me tell you, girls and gays, because I know we do this sometimes. We'll be mad about other stuff going on in our life, and we take it out on who? Our man. I do it too. Well, I used to do it. I don't have a man right now, but back when I did have one, I get it. And so he's like, "Look, you're going through all this with Lenny, with Larsa, and then you come home and you take it out on me. Now, how is that fair?" Jody's like, "Now, why am I in it?" Now, but he's happy to be in it because he loves her. But he's like, "Look, if you could, I don't know, get a therapist, read a book." He literally says, "Read a book." That's a good drag name. Read a book. But anyway, he's like, if you could just get your life together, I promise you, baby, I would be happy to marry you. So I know, Lisa, get it together. Jody loves you. He wants to marry you. Don't push it too hard. What you push is getting yourself together so that you can be the wife. I know this is the family you wanted, but make sure that you're the wife of your dreams as well, Lisa. And I put that out to all my girls and gays. Like, as much as we want the husband of our dreams, we got to make sure that we are the wives of their dreams. You know what I mean? So at this event, as we know, Adriana, I love Adriana so much. She's beautiful. She's intelligent. She has been working in the art industry for years and years and years. She's got this artist that she's presenting at Art Basel, and I think it's amazing. I love seeing these ladies fight. I love seeing these ladies shop. But I also love seeing these ladies work. A lot of these ladies, they have incredible careers before Housewives, and they start new careers during Housewives. And I love to see these ladies work, because I love to see a woman. Now listen, of course, we all want a rich husband, but I like to see a woman who knows how to get out there and make things happen for herself. Not even just for the money, but just for, I feel like every woman should still have her own passions. Like, even if you do marry well, I think it's important for a woman to still have her own passions, her own things that, excite her. So I love seeing Adriana in her element in the art world. But I'm also glad that we get this conversation between Stephanie and Marisol, because Stephanie tells Marisol, hey, Alexia pretty much kind of threw you under the bus and was telling me that it wasn't her that didn't want to ride my plane. It was you that didn't want to ride my plane. And Marisol's, look, let me tell you something, okay? I don't like it when people talk about money, okay? I think it's tacky. And then Stephanie's like, oh, I don't talk about money. And then we get a lovely little montage of Stephanie talking about money. Now, see, the Housewives producers are always going to get you. Because I know I'd be like, I don't talk too much. And then they'd probably have like a montage of me being like, blah, 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 blah. That's what they do, okay? So, Stephanie, yes, you do talk about money. But she did not bring up the cost of the plane. Larsa did that, okay? So, I'm just glad we're going to get some resolution here. Because I'm kind of tired of seeing all this back and forth, like with Stephanie and the plane. It's like, dude, that was so 3 episodes ago. Move on. But what I really want to see, I don't think I needed to see a showdown between Stephanie and Marisol or Stephanie and Alexia. I think I need to see a little showdown between Alexia and Marisol, because Alexia does throw Marisol under the bus a little bit. Marisol is rightfully not excited about Alexia and Todd getting back together. I mean, girls engaged, y'all know what I'm talking about. Your friend breaks up with the guy, spends all this in your ear, making you hate the guy. Then she or he decides that they now love the guy again, and now we all got to go on a double date. No. Count me out. Me and my man will stay home. I'm not going to go on a double date with you and you're on again, off again, on again, off again. Because once you're off again, I don't like the guy. Any of my friends know. Once the relationship is over, if they'll come to me and be like, hey, we're still cool, cool. But if they're like, hey, this dude came and moved everything out of the house without telling me, la, 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 I'm not effing with you no more. I'm unfollowing you. I'm not effing with you, okay? So then we already saw the Larsa feud. We got a ceasefire on the Larsa feud. These two are getting along, hugging. The Silicone sisters are back. We love that. Julia's like, you know what? I miss having this with Adriana. I miss it. What we've seen this season, I don't think we've seen Julia really be the best friend to Adriana. And so now she's looking at her and she's like, no, you're being negative. You're doing this. You're doing that. And it's like, Julia, can we go back and take a look at your behavior throughout this season? The way that you treated Gertie. I mean, and Adriana's a friend of Gertie. Why would she want to stand by that treatment of Gertie? And also the way you've been treating her. Let's talk about the tail end of the Real Housewives of Miami. So let's get back to this word ratchet, okay? Because Adriana called Kiki ratchet. And so then they're saying that Kiki said that Adriana is racist. I don't think calling someone ratchet is racist. And Kiki's like, I never even called her racist. So even I'm watching the show from behind the scenes, and I'm a little bit confused of like, who called who racist? Who thinks somebody's racist? I don't think Adriana's racist. I mean, she's sitting here with her black friend right now. Can you have a black friend and still be racist? Yes. Okay, so we had a Chump mixer last week. When I got invited, of course, it's like I always want to go to any Chump event that I'm ever invited to. And especially when it's like specifically for the Chumps, I always come alone, or if maybe I'll bring like another Chump or something like that. But for the most part, I know when it's like an event like that, I come alone. However, I did have a friend in town visiting. Hey, Steven, my friend Steven was in town visiting. So I asked, is it okay if I bring my friend Steven? He's fabulous. He's gay. He'll have a good time. At first, I was told no. And I said, okay, no problem. See y'all Thursday. Then I was told, actually, there's been a change of heart. You can bring him. And I said, great. Are you sure? Are you sure? Do you think it's going to throw off the dynamics? I'm big on dynamics, and I don't like to throw off dynamics. So they were like, no. We'd love to have him. Great. Me and my friend showed up. We actually we pre-partied a little bit beforehand because I didn't want to come, especially since I brought a friend. I didn't want us both to be like, guzzling drinks. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you don't want to do that. When you have a +1, you certainly don't want to be there with your +1, guzzling drinks. You know what I'm saying? So we were having a great time. And I just want to be so forgive me, y'all, because I want to be really, really intentional and thoughtful about the way that I address this. Because I will say right here on my podcast, where I always do my best to tell the truth, my truth, I actually really love Kelly and Rick. I met them for the first time at ChumpCon. I think I've discussed it here. I did their show right after ChumpCon. I actually did an episode of their show, and I met them. I was really nervous to meet them, but they were both so wonderful to me. And this is again an escape. I don't really talk about politics here, but the young man who was murdered in Utah a couple of weeks ago. He's not a politician, although I would say he's a political influencer. I feel like that if we were going to give him a job title, political influencer. He's a civilian, never served in the military. As many of you know, I'm both the daughter and granddaughter of veterans, so I am very proud of military service. I grew up on the Air Force Base, greatest experience of my life. So I take a lot of pride in being the daughter and granddaughter of veterans. So yes, this young man, like I said, he was a civilian. He never ran for public office, at least not to my knowledge. And yeah, so he's a political influencer. However, people loved him. And if you love him, great, you're allowed to love him. However, if you listen to the words that came out of his mouth, because I'm tired of this whole taken out of context. Has everyone been coached to say taken out of context and that was just a clip? Let me tell you something. You can never take me out of context. And you can listen to any clip of Tooks Takes ever, and I stand by everything I've ever said. One day, when the Lord calls me home, please play some episodes of Tooks Takes. Please, at my funeral, please quote me. Please go back and say all of the things that I've ever said, because I don't think I've ever really said anything divisive. I don't think I've ever really said anything that would alienate or make a whole group of a marginalized community feel terrible. I'm pretty sure I've never done anything like that. But what I will say, especially in light of what just took place with Jimmy Kimmel, even though I disagree with a good chunk, probably 99% of what that young man ever said, he's allowed to say it. This is America. The foundation of American history is freedom. So what's really going on? FCC. And I see the world through rose-colored glasses. I really, really do. And I'm super Pollyanna. And I think that's why the exchange that took place between myself and Rick, while we were having an exchange, Ronnie Karam of Watch What Crappens, Ronnie and Ben were both there. Ben saw the direction that things were about to go. Ben got out of Dodge, which I wish I would have left with Ben. But also, because here's my thing. In hindsight, I do wish I had not engaged in that conversation. But at the same time, I'm glad I engaged in that conversation. It was my hope and prayer that topic of conversation would not come up, because I know that people get really emotional about it. The people who love him are very emotional about it. The people who do not love him are very unemotional about what took place. Because, and I agree that, to me, the fact that there are a lot of black people, in my case, a black woman, who was not a fan of that guy. To me, anyone with critical thinking skills would be able to put two and two together of oh yeah, you probably wouldn't be a fan of that guy based on what he said about black women. And not a clip, not taken out of context. What he said about black women, what he said about George Floyd right after George Floyd died. I'm judging him based on his words and his actions. And I know that he was a man of faith. I'm a woman of faith. But here's my thing. To me, do you actually care about making the world a better place, or do you just care about pushing your beliefs out there regardless of how they affect other people? And I think it's the latter with a lot of these people. I don't think they actually care about bringing us together. I don't think they actually care about making sure this country is a safe, successful place for all Americans. I think it seems to me that all they care about is pushing their beliefs. Because what really hurt my feelings during this exchange, because I'm coming into this thinking these are two people that I really, really like. These are two people who really, really like me. But so we're talking about what took place, and this is right after the news of Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. And so I was told, oh, well, Jimmy Kimmel lied. He lied. Okay, Jimmy Kimmel's a comedian. Are we fact checking comedians now? Is the FCC about to start fact checking Took's takes? I mean, I do the best I can, but I'm a comedian. Jimmy Kimmel's a comedian. And by the way, it's not like I'm some big Jimmy Kimmel fan. It's not. I know a lot of people are like, well, his ratings were low. Okay, if his ratings are low, cancel him because his ratings are low. Don't cancel him or suspend him over that joke, which, by the way, it wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad. It's no worse. It's certainly not anything worse than the words that we hear our current leadership say on we'll say weekly basis. We'll be kind and say weekly basis, So I don't think it's fair to hold a comedian to that standard. And I studied journalism in college. I know, at least at the University of Florida, go Gators, we had this, ethics and communication ethics class that we took, okay? I gotta tell you, as a comedian, we do not take an ethics class on comedy. The only rule of comedy is that it needs to be funny. So a comedian's job is to make people laugh. If you think that comedian is funny, great, laugh. If you don't think that comedian is funny, don't laugh. Period. If you don't think a comedian is funny, if you don't like a joke, what are they going to do about Saturday Night Live? Making fun of politicians and political things, like this is what late night talk shows do. Are we going to exhume Johnny Carson and say, you weren't really a fortune teller? That wasn't real. Give me a break. It's the monologue of a late night talk show. The rest of the world is laughing at us right now because this is crazy. This is crazy. And so, as we're talking about this, all I said was, listen, me as a black person, it shouldn't be a big shock that I wasn't a fan of that young man. That's really the only thing I said about race, which that got turned into, I'm getting screamed at about black on black crime, which they love to do that, don't they? So then I said, well, what about white on white crime? And then I'm getting told, well, who is the number one person who kills black men? Other black men. I said, who's the number one person who kills white men? Other white men. Case in point, this case. Give me a break. So I'm sitting there like, dude, I was really sad. We're joking. We were able to laugh and joke after the fact because I think I was still in shock. But when I hugged Rick for that long hug, there was nothing. I was crying. I had tears in my eyes, and honestly, I was keeping it together because I looked so pretty. I had on the cutest little romper, and my makeup looked so pretty. I was certainly not about to mess up my mascara over this ignorance, but it really hurt my feelings. We're talking about this young man who just got murdered. We're talking about FCC violations, freedom of speech. I got some DMs this week telling me I'm not a good Christian. Baby, judge not lest ye be judged. If you want to go there, we'll go there, because one thing's for sure, no weapon formed against me has ever prospered. I love God in my heart, and that's why I try to show love to everybody. So if you're claiming to love God in your heart and you're not actually out here showing love to everybody, if you have a big, large, gigantic platform and you're not using it to actually make the world a better place, shame on you. And that's it. And I know one day when I die, quote me. When I die, quote me. No one's going to be able to say it was taken out of context. No one's going to say, you can't quote her now. That's offensive. You're not going to be able to say that. Now, I love y'all. Special shout out to my auntie army, the queen of all my aunties, my Aunt Liz. Hey, Aunt Liz, I know you're listening right now. My Aunt Liz, my mom's oldest sister, she's in her 80s. She is beautiful. Every time I see her, she says, ooh, you got pretty skin, just like me. I know she's listening right now. And listen, I got so much love. I get a little hate, but it's so minuscule, the hate I get. And my Aunt Liz said this, and I'm going to leave y'all with it too. My Aunt Liz said, the next time they tell you you're too loud, tell them put some cotton in their ears. I'm doing it, Aunt Liz. If I'm too loud for you, put some cotton in your ears. Now, we're going to keep talking about this because we're going to talk about housewives, but these are important things to talk about too. As I said last week, I'm going to say it again. Continue to let your light shine everywhere you go. I'm doing the same. And I hope and pray that my light helps you find your light and you shine so bright. I will see y'all next time. Bye.